This week in on Peak Performer, writing on the future of work, I was talking about a phenomenon known as cognitive offloading, and it's where human beings use external devices and means to help them think and help them save packets of information, let's say. So, for example, centuries ago, millennia ago, we would have used an abacus, or we would have used counters or whatever it happened to be to keep a record of various things. It's impossible to keep all of this information in our head, or virtually impossible. It's cognitively demanding. And so we outsource some of this thinking, or the saving of data, at least in short term, to other devices like notebooks and what have you, an abacus. And so in recent times, it's become a significant issue with technology, because what we're doing is becoming over reliant on it. The likes of Google, the likes of now with AI technologies, generative AI and agentic AI, we uh, are pushing out our capacity to think to other devices. And we're affording these devices and technologies trust where we might not otherwise. And so, where you have agents, AI agents operating on our behalf, perhaps making decisions on our behalf, now it becomes dangerous, because no longer are people taking responsibility for decisions being made. We're pushing it out to these machines. And that's not even a problem in and of itself, or enough of a problem. Our own cognitive function is suffering as a result. I wrote about a paper, well, a number of papers in this week's Future of Work article, and one is by Michael Gerlich. He's a professor at the Swiss Business School, and wrote a paper just released on the 3rd of January, AI Tools in Society, impacts on cognitive offloading and the future of critical thinking. Our critical thinking skills are suffering. And for younger people, they're suffering to a greater extent, because we don't see the value in putting the time and effort into things and learning and understanding and critically evaluating information. We're relying on the AI, ChatGPT or Copilot, or other agentic AI, generative AI, to do the thinking for us, and this is dangerous. So Gerlich's paper highlights a couple of consequences, several consequences for us. It found, for example, a significant negative correlation between the frequent use of AI tools and critical thinking abilities, which essentially means that the higher the usage of AI in our day to day work, the lower our ability to think critically about situations. He also found that cognitive offloading, the farming out of our cognitive abilities, where we rely on these tools, um, increased cognitive offload is found due to AI uses reduces engagement in deep reflective thinking. So, taking the time to analyze and reflect on our decisions, maybe to consider the data, it's not done. And this reflective thinking is essential for critical analysis of our world and our environment and our interaction with other people and the information that they give us. Really important in this age of misinformation and disinformation. We have a tendency to trust what these technologies give us. Slippery slope. He also found that younger participants showed higher dependence on AI tools and a lower critical thinking score than older participants. Individuals with higher educational attainment or educational levels showed um, better critical thinking skills. And the final major point was this study emphasizes the need for strategies in education that promote critical thinking, engagement in critical thinking. It suggests that fostering critical thinking skills is crucial in this AI driven world, and to mitigate against the cognitive costs of the use of AI tools. And we talk about this, myself and my colleague Bernie Goldbach. We run a program on AI and digital transformation and personal productivity. And one of the key messages we try to get across, we've been doing this for over 12 months, is that um, the ultimate arbiter of truth and accuracy has to be the human being. It can't be the technology. And we see, at least in our engagement with others, perhaps the beginning of affording human beings affording too much trust to these technologies and accepting the responses. But in fact, it doesn't take too much engagement with them to figure out that the information that they're providing is less than um, trustworthy. Maybe not all the time, but certainly some of the time. For example, I would engage with ChatGPT maybe on a daily basis, several times a day. There would be some days where I don't, but ChatGPT, for me at least, has invented references to papers that don't exist. It has also forgotten what I had asked it earlier in a conversation string. For example, provide me with a reference list. If it's given me an answer to a query, provide me with sources, external sources that I can reference. It doesn't do it. I have to reiterate my request. Various things like this. And the lengthier and the more involved the conversation with the AI, the more it forgets and starts to break up and break down indeed. So my recommendation, if it's of any value, if you're engaging with these AI tools, is to use it as a jumping off point, use it as one of many research tools, and don't simply rely on ChatGPT on its own, or Copilot, or Perplexity, or Claude, or Gemini. Maybe use them all and bounce them off one another and find and try to find some common ground. So if ChatGPT gives you a particular response and you're kind of going, I'm not too sure about that, go to Copilot and bounce the same request off it and see what it gives you. I use Copilot within the Edge browser. You can open up a PDF within the Edge browser and examine that PDF for particular responses and cross-reference that with the likes of ChatGPT, see how it weighs up. That's mainly what I use these tools for. Um, Examining PDFs, research papers, trying to extract information. I'll then explore and attempt to verify the response that it's given me. That's much easier with Copilot because Copilot gives you a link to the section of the document where it pulled out that piece of information, which is very handy. ChatGPT, as far as I know, doesn't do that. Those are the two tools that I mainly use if I'm using generative AI for research or whatever, or maybe I'm writing an article or whatever. Maybe you've got experience using Claude or Gemini. If you have, let me know what you think. Are they better than ChatGPT or maybe even Copilot? In fact, a Copilot runs the same LLM in the background as ChatGPT does. And just on a point of clarity, um, Copilot and ChatGPT, because they're the two I use most, they're not the LLM. They're merely the software layer that handles your query. And so your query and the data that you give it, PDFs, Excel files, links to web resources, and so forth, they're all saved somewhere in a server. So be careful what you give the GPT, the generative AI software, because it's saved somewhere on the internet. So the article is up on Peak Performer. It is titled "The Future of Work Research Says Reliance on AI Tools Has Cognitive Costs for Human Beings." Subscribe, share it, let me know your thoughts, post a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I publish The Future of Work on a weekly basis. It's free, and I hope you enjoy reading it. Okay, until next week or some other time, I'll see you later.